Structuralism and deconstruction. Structuralism and post-structuralism. As the word suggests, structure. It talks about the structure of language. What is the operating procedure of language? Ferdinand de Saussure, a Swiss linguist, 1857 to 1913, he was the first one to talk about word and its meaning, signifier and signified. And he said that between the signifier and the signified, many things lie. Social context, cultural context, that he raised the question that does the word carry the meaning that it intends? Between the word and the meaning, so many individuals, society, weather, climate, culture, mental state, so many things lie between the word and its meaning. Earlier in traditional literary theory, when we use traditional tools, it is logocentric. We believe that there is meaning in the text, that this whole exercise is meaningful, that there is some pious meaning within the text. You can say that it is a kind of faith. We believe, we have faith in the writer, we have faith in the text, and we say that we have to reach that meaning in the traditional sense. Here, for the first time in structuralism, the question was raised, the possibility was raised that between word and meaning there is lots of variation. Saussure studied how meaning is made possible. He still, the critics still believed that there is meaning, but they studied as to how meaning is made possible. It is a kind of meta-language, a language about language, how language works. So this is how structuralism started. Then Claude Lévi-Strauss, 1908 to 2009, and Roland Barthes, 1915 to 1980, they took it to other heights and they questioned language itself. They created deconstruction. Deconstruction, ध्वस्त कर देना, भाषा को ही ध्वस्त कर दिया गया कि भाषा जो है वो अर्थ नहीं दे सकती, अर्थ नहीं दे पा रही है. Is language capable of communicating? Is language coherent? What is the capacity of language? This was deconstruction. They questioned language itself. It developed as reader response theory in America, that it all depends on the response of the reader, and it developed as reception theory in Europe as to how the text is received. We have Jacques Lacan, 1901 to 1981, and Julia Kristeva, 1941 born. They talked of all cultural concepts which come between the signifier and the signified. And they questioned the capacity of language itself, that there is no guarantee of meaning, that there is nothing like empirical, scientific, absolute language. There is too much misunderstanding, there is too much slipping away in between, and it is not absolute. And then we have Jacques Derrida, 1930-2004, that he talked of endless deferral. He talked of the concept that one word gives meaning to another word, and then that word gives meaning to another word, and it is like a wave, endless deferral of meaning. Jacques Derrida, the most prominent name among post-structuralist linguists, theorists, he said that this is like this. And then we have Michael Foucault, 1926 to 1984. He took it to new historicism. He took it to history. He said that even history is not final, and we will use history in novels and use it as per modern contemporary concepts. So history is molded in novels, and that is new historicism. This reflects the mental state of the present society. As we know, you see, when industrialization came, themes of loneliness, themes of frustration, such themes crept into literature. Arnold, we may remember, you see, the first industrialization waves and its reflection in literature. It may sound ironical, but it is true. When we study literature, machine and meaninglessness, they go together in literature. Machine comes into picture. Machine is supposed to make human life easier, but as it comes into picture, themes of loneliness and depression and meaninglessness in life and all these things come in literature. We saw it in the industrialization era also, and when man was convinced, when human beings were convinced of meaning, when they were convinced of divine reality, when they were convinced of things, you see, then they were certain of certain things. They studied literature in a different manner. But the contemporary man is so shaken that it reflects in literary theory as well. This is how I see it, that deconstruction reflects the status of the modern man. One more thing which I want to underline, which I want to emphasize here, is that Ferdinand de Saussure, who began it all, questioning the word and its meaning, was a professor of Sanskrit. He had access to Sanskrit literature and Sanskrit poetics, which is highly developed. And 820 to 890, we had Anandavardhan, the great Kashmiri Sanskrit scholar, who gave Dhvani theory in Dhvanyalok, a light of suggestion. It's a marvelous, there's no parallel to this text. And our theoreticians already understood कि भाषा और भ्रम एक ही सिक्के के दो पहलू. जहाँ भाषा है वहाँ भ्रम है, जहाँ भ्रम है वहाँ भाषा है. He spoke of resonance, of echo, of wavelengths. Anandavardhan had an idea of this characteristic of language, and it is possible that Saussure took this idea from Anandavardhan because he was a professor of Sanskrit. So this, our land of Kashyap Rishi, Kashmir, has given advanced poetics. Panini, Ashtadhyayi, Varahamihir and Harsh, and so many of them come from Kashmir, India, where the nature of language, the duality of language, the doubt of language, the gap between the word and the meaning has already been described so many thousands of years back. So this is an area which should be researched even more. So this is what it is. The authority of language is questioned, as the popular song goes, जो भी मैं कहना चाहूँ बर्बाद करें अल्फाज मेरे. Rock star Ranbir Kapoor. It's a very apt description. अगर समझना हो बात को तो अपन समझ सकते हैं. जो भी मैं कहना चाहूँ बर्बाद करें अल्फाज मेरे. My words ruin my meaning. My words cut down my own meaning. I want to say something, but words spoil it. So this is what scholars of deconstruction do. This is how deconstruction theory is applied on literature. That word cancels word. Word ruins meaning. If we see a text, how we will read it in a deconstructive manner? We will see patterns of contradiction in it. We will see how meaning is blurred, how meaning is blocked, how meaning contradicts itself again and again in the text. I think it's hot. I think it's hot. If you think, then it's not absolute. How can you say that it is warm? What is warm for one person is not warm for another person. So it's not an absolute statement. So the word cancels word. It's a very simplistic example, but it's still, in order to understand that how word is always doubtful. It is misunderstood, it is not accepted, it is not received in the same spirit in which it is said. And even the spirit in which it is said is not final. It changes. So it changes from the giver's point of view, it changes from the receiver's point of view. भाषा और भ्रम, इस तरह से ये है deconstruction theory, structuralism and then post-structuralism. This is just the beginning of the discussion. So, thank you.